week we're going to be covering some Zoom controls within Microsoft Teams meetings so that you don't have to squint and try and see that tiny little Excel spreadsheet. We're going to beautify your handwriting within Microsoft Whiteboard. And there's a couple of things coming to answers, which we're going to kind of combine some of these announcements here. So let's just say stuff is coming to answers. Answers has got answers. See you soon.
I think I'm going to one day record how Daryl dances when the music is playing for the show. I think that's what I'm going to do.
It's like my press ups before I come out on stage, and I've got to talk. I know some speakers do this. They and they come out and they're like all pumped and ready to
press go. Press ups. That's push ups.
Yeah. Okay. Push ups, press ups. It's still.
I'm just trying to get the language. I'm breaking down the language barriers. Hello, everyone. This is episode 288. Thank you for joining us. Go ahead and give us a like and subscribe. Might as well. We're going to bring some great value today, so
might as well.
Let's go.
I mean, you're here. The buttons are right there. Go on.
Just right there. And if you're on listening to the podcast, make sure that you give us a rating there wherever you find your podcast, because we're all over the place. We'd love for you to do that, and maybe give us a share. Share out the episode. In fact, this is something we're going to mention until we have a giveaway. It's going to be exciting.
Hasn't been given away yet, has it?
No. We have a giveaway because we are, this week we're talking about the conference that's coming up in November, and that's ESPC, Daryl. So ESPC will be happening November, and it is, I think it's the November, I want to say the 27th through the 30th, and it'll be happening in, it's really close. It's in Amsterdam, a really close timing. You might not think November is that close. We're in June, but it's going to come quick.
Close either.
No, it's not. No, it's not. But ESPC, it's the European SharePoint and Office 365 and Azure. Conference. Big conference, really big show. And so make sure, first of all, get your early bird tickets now. You can save €200 on your registration. So make sure you jump out there. You can go to SharePointEurope.com, or to make it easier for our listeners, go to 365mcs.com/ESPC. We will... Do we get a drum roll or something? We need a drum roll.
Oh, we'll add something. Yeah, drum roll.
We'll be giving away a pass to ESPC this year. So make sure you share out this episode because that's going to be one way you're going to be entered. So make sure you do that. We'll give you more details very, 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 very soon. But sharing this episode is the way you're going to jump in and be eligible. So one way. So save now by going to 365.com/ESPC. So, Daryl.
Yes.
You were right. In the intro, you're saying, "Hey, we're going to combine some of these messages," and we are. But I am very excited on this first one because I already have experience on it, and it's really great. You let me know, it's there, but there's no controls visible. I'm loving this. Talk to us about zooming, sir, in Teams.
Well, I would, but it is your message. I mean, I can...
Oh, no. I'm talking about it. Well, that's fine because I love it. So this is introducing zooming controls while viewing screen share, MC 564195. And so just as it says, when you're looking at screen share in Teams, you're going to have controls. Now, you can do it now if you have a wheel on your mouse. You can go zoom, zoom, and all this stuff. Now,
You make that noise at the same time?
yeah, it goes zoom, zoom. But now you're going to have controls, and you can see a nice little screenshot there. It's very subtle, I think. It's it shows there at the bottom, being able to zoom in the bottom left hand side. And so you can zoom in, and it actually is pretty slick. I like it to be able to zoom in on the content. So, if you're looking at an Excel spreadsheet or maybe some copy of some text, you're like, I can't read that. You can zoom in and see it. And this is independent of what the presenter's doing, meaning you're not zooming their presentation for everybody. It's for you to zoom in on the content. So, Daryl, do you use zooming in on content? Have you used that before?
Yeah, frequently. Yeah. I'm a shortcut keys kind of person, and I actually use that same gesture for zooming in on all sorts of content that I might be creating, and graphical kind of programs. So used to this gesture, and definitely have to use it when you're going through a famously great spreadsheet for managing projects.
Yes, 100%. I agree with you. So, no, you don't have to say, "Hey, speaker, can you zoom in?" And then everyone sits there and waits. We can all zoom in ourselves. So this is rolling out early June, so nowish, and expected to be completed by mid-June for those in targeted release. Those, they're going to have a public preview. Remember, we've talked about this before. You could put teams in the, different modes of preview. So public preview begin rolling out early June, so nowish, and expected to be completed by mid-June. But then standard release is early July. So they're going to give a little bit of time to bake it, make sure it works well. Early July and completed by mid-July. GCC High and DoD will be late August and will be completed by mid-September. I'm excited for everyone to get this. Seeing those little details can make a big impact when you're in a meeting, right?
Mm-hmm. Definitely, rather than waiting for someone to zoom in
That's right.
themselves.
You know what else would make a big impact, Daryl? Is if someone took a very important button and then hid it behind a menu. That would make a big impact.
Well, yeah, it really would. What would make a better impact, Daniel, is if I had better control of which messages I have favorited or not. Anyway, this is all about relocating the sync command for OneDrive in My Files view to Settings, MC565161. Okay, if you are using OneDrive Sync, you're going through a folder somewhere and you think, oh, this would be great to have a copy of that down on my desktop. And so you click the sync button, OneDrive does its thing and it synchronizes. So that's quite a nice convenience. I myself have got used to using OneDrive shortcuts and the files on demand combo. That's quite a nice one. So it means I'm not synchronizing everything down, but I've indicated that I'd like to have that same structure there and ready for me to double click and get that file. Your two options. Now, what's happening is the sync command will be shifted from our toolbar where everyone can see it if they want that option. Will now be up underneath our settings cog where we would normally see settings for all kinds of things across Microsoft 365. Quite a move. And our sense of this is that it's been put there to reduce the use of sync. Take that wherever you want to, in terms of, like, maybe there's a lot of resources that are being used by all the people that are synchronizing things, and this could be one way of claiming back some of the power, the carbon credit reduction or something. I don't know. I'm throwing all sorts of ideas in.
Yeah, you know why you're throwing. I can understand why you're throwing all these ideas, because they don't tell us. They don't tell us why they're doing this. They're just saying we're moving it. And if you don't like it, too bad. Well, I gave a thumbs down, everybody, and you can too. You can give a thumbs down and say, hey, why are you doing this? And maybe give us a little, show us what it's going to look like when it gets moved over there. I'm thinking it's more about they want to put something else in that area, and maybe, that sync files button is something you only click once. So why take up all that space when it's something that you might just click once on your machine or twice because you set up another machine? I don't know. I mean, I kind of get that, but I don't know. Moving it under a menu, of course, will cause people to not know where it is. And
Yep.
so, I think yes, you need to take action here. You need to update how you're going to train your people, because you can't say, click on my files and then hit the sync button. You can't do that anymore. You got to go to the settings and click it there.
So the changes are rolling out to targeted release in early June and standard release in mid-June. And Daniel, take this double whammy, right?
Ooh,
We've
double
got two messages here, but I want you to cover it as if it was 2.5. No, one.
Okay, fine. If you make me.
Yeah, I'll make you.
Okay, click it. Answers focused view in Viva Engage, MC565144. This is coming next month, it says. They're going to allow you as an admin to say, I don't use Viva Engage for communities that much. In fact, this is only going to be available if you have 2 or fewer. So that means 2, 1, or 0, I guess. But I don't know how you would have 0, but I digress. If you have 2 or less, then you're going to be able to set it so that Viva Engage is focused on answers in Viva, right? So, what this all means, I'm assuming it's going to be things like once you go into Engage, it's going to say, here's answers, right? By default. I'm assuming that, default kind of types of questions, or posts will be
Post type.
questions.
Yeah.
I'm assuming. And I keep saying assuming because it doesn't really tell us what's happening. It doesn't give us screenshots. I'm guessing this is what's going to happen. Even the more information and help stuff talks about setting up answers, but it doesn't talk about this. What in the world's changing here and how to, what's it going to look like? So I'm assuming that we're going to get more information, more details on this. Daryl, do you see this as a good change for those organizations, obviously, that are not using communities, right? They're not using communities pretty much.
Well, they won't now.
Right.
I think that's the downside for me, that if an admin's making this choice, all good, shuffling people through to one of the value props for Engage, which is crowdsourcing answers for your questions. But what I've highlighted here in the message, once enabled, employees will no longer be able to navigate to other areas of Viva Engage, such as communities, storyline, and leadership corner. So they won't have that option to potentially create communities.
Right.
It's
Or create stories.
Storylines, exactly.
Yeah.
Now, maybe this fits for your small to medium business or small businesses where maybe you've only got 5 to 20 people, and you're like, well, I don't need a community. I've got teams.
Teams, yeah.
But you could be leveraging Engage for capturing that knowledge and
I understand it in that way, right? You already have a way that you're allowing people to communicate and have quote unquote communities in Teams or maybe even another product, maybe. And you're like, hey, but I want to use
Notepad?
answers. I have I have topics, or I have the Viva suite, and I want people to use answers. So let's get it focused. I think that's interesting. You're not going to be able to it's going to basically turn Viva Engage into answers, and that's it. Rolling out early June, so nowish, completed by late June. And then the next topic is, did you get that topic? Because you have to have topics to get answers.
Oh, no, I didn't make that connection.
Oh, man. I had to
Did
explain
you see
it
what
to
I
you.
did there?
So now,
It's about connections.
I got it. Answers in Viva Information Panel. So the next message.
Oh, right, yeah. So
You said I'm supposed to do it as one, but
I totally
all right.
get it. Go ahead.
Answers in Viva Information Panel MC565146. So, also in answers, we're going to gain an information panel somewhere in the right column of the answers tab. Okay? I say somewhere.
Who's
because,
going to gain it, though, Daniel? Who's going to gain it?
Well, that's a great question, Daryl. First of all, we don't know what it's going to look like because no screenshot here, nor do we have any sort of details on how we're going to be able to configure this. But basically, those admins, the Answers admins, Viva Engage admins, global admins, will be able to see this new information panel on the right-hand side of the page and being able to update it and only administrators will be able to see the default content. But once they update it and save it, other people will be able to see it. So at first it's going to be default content about answers. Hey, use this panel to tell people stuff, how you want them to use answers. And then once one of those admins goes in and does that and then publishes it, then everyone will see it. I don't know
It
what
does
that
definitely go together with the other.
I think so,
message.
right? Because if you turn on, I don't think it's required, right? I think it's going to show up whether you are a answers focused Viva Engage company or if you're not, you're using all of Viva Engage. But it goes well with that to say, hey, kind of giving a landing page experience of here's some information about what in the world you're looking at. Now, again, I would like to see a screenshot. I would like to get some information about how you go in and edit it, what's available. Are there some Webparts or some sort of functionality you can put in there? Is it all text? Don't know. I put a thumbs down on this one as well and said, hey, I need some of that information to be able to prepare my users.
You were a grump, weren't you? All these
A bit.
thumbs down. My goodness.
Well, a bit. But, so anyway, rolling out same time frame, early June.
Yep.
Completed in late June. You know what, though? I gave a thumbs up to the next message we're going to talk about.
Well, I would agree. I
thought it was
simply
beautiful.
Because yes, handwriting, beautification. I tried to enunciate that word quite precisely. Handwriting, beautification, and ink straightening for Microsoft Whiteboard MC565166. This is a great message, and here's why. Scroll on down, and you'll get to see what this actually looks like. Sort of. First, animated GIF. For those who are listening to our podcast, you can select or draw your kind of like selection circle around something that you have handwritten, and then hit a button, and it will straighten it all out for you to begin with. So imagine like sometimes when we write that we are writing on a slight lean. That's actually a habit I think I have from primary school. We would actually angle the paper to write line. Yeah, anyway. So you can straighten that out. Secondly, you can select handwritten text that might be, sort of medical profession legibility, and it will use magical powers to turn it into text that you can read. So there's the example here in the animated GIF of "Hello World" turned into "Hello World" because the magic of this feature beautifies it and makes it readable. So notice there are those two buttons as you're selecting something. The first one that straightens it out, it is like a few shapes. Let's go back up to that other one. A few shapes, and then when you tap on that button, it straightens things. And the beautification one, which makes your writing legible, is kind of like a handwritten A with what looks like a magical gleam down the bottom of it. Daniel called it a plus sign. It could be like a magical plus sign, but it's
magical plus sign or a target.
Yeah, don't get that confused with the magical little gleam we're now starting to see for AI stuff like Copilot. But maybe it is using AI to read that doctor's handwriting, decipher it with many different samples from a large
Language model.
doctor's model,
Nice.
handwriting, something, and then yeah.
I think though you're onto something because you have to turn on connected experiences for this.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's not going to happen offline, is it?
No, so it is using something on the servers to make it
Mm-hmm.
happen, right?
Yeah, and those connected experiences we already have. If you've turned them on, then it's actually what's powering things like being able to give feedback, getting images from Bing search to put into your whiteboards, inserting hyperlinks, and going and prefetching what does that link look like and using it as the preview rather than just the hyperlink. So those connected experiences are important, and it looks like that's the smarts. The smarts are online to make this happen, people. So if you want it, you got to turn that on.
That's so smart.
Yep. Policy stuff down the bottom. Have a look at it yourself. We've got much more to go through on the show today. So, rolling out early June, nowish, and expected to be complete late June. Oops, excuse me. My goodness, it's upset my tummy, Daniel, with this
Oh, no.
beautification. Tell us about the progression of stream and playlists.
Let's do it. Microsoft Stream, playlist view in SharePoint list Webpart, MC564196. So this is bringing forth, we talked about a while back, creating a playlist view in your Microsoft lists for your videos. This is bringing that functionality to your Webpart so that when you add a list Webpart, in the full blown playlist view will show up. So and we'll see it there in the screenshot that's in the message that Daryl is showing. But those listening, you can go look at the message. But basically, it's showing that when you add this web part, the list web part, to a page, you're going to get that playlist view. So this is awesome for those scenarios. Remember, we're going through this transition of Microsoft Stream, moving from Stream 1.0, which was its own standalone platform, to Stream 2.0, which is videos in SharePoint and OneDrive, using that backend functionality to drive some of this. So we're adding these additional functionality, like a different list view for a playlist. But now we can then take that and show it on a page, which is amazing, because we can add our playlist to our page for our stand-ups or for our town halls. So if you have all your town halls and you've created that playlist view, then you can add that to your town halls page on your intranet. And then you can say, people can cycle through those and see the video right there. Makes it pretty slick, right? So,
yeah, well, Daniel, this is the gap that it's filling too, and people are all concerned about this with the switch from classic stream and into SharePoint based or modern stream. Where are my channels going to go? What does the channel look like now? And we know that it's going to be a communication site or a clever way of using the sites, but the pieces to make that work and make it feel like a channel were missing. This is going to be great.
Yep. So this is coming the same kind of time frame that we've been talking about a lot of things this week. Early June, so nowish, and expected to be completed late June. And you'll be able to, the web part will be showing that playlist for you. It's going to be amazing.
Well, it's the right timing because
Yes.
as some of our clients, I'm sure yours too, have noticed, that classic stream no longer accepts new videos. So now people are having to think about moving what they had and then creating things like channels with these wonderful bits and pieces appearing in our Microsoft 365 experience.
Yeah. So, you know what I'd like to talk about though? I want to be able to annotate PDFs, fill in forms without leaving OneDrive at all. Can you make that happen?
And
for
what? I mean, I could. I tell you what. Something's coming. Something's coming. Microsoft OneDrive PDF annotation and interactable form fields. MC565167. Look, Daniel asked me, hey, don't we kind of already have this? Do we actually need a feature like this when we open up OneDrive, we open up a PDF? it opens up in a web browser. I mean, whatever web browser you're using, it opens up as a reader, and some of them kind of allow you to annotate stuff, sorta. And if you've gone the extra mile and you've got like the Adobe Acrobat application or something like that, then you can annotate. So why would we use this in OneDrive? Well, thank you for asking. This actually, I believe, gets in between having to download and open that file locally in your browser, and it keeps it online, keeps it in OneDrive, and allows you to annotate, allows you to fill out a form, etc. So all the fields that might have been put into this PDF, but it's keeping it online, and it's using a file viewer that is available in OneDrive for the web. So it is using the edit action. You open up the file, it's still in OneDrive. It's not going off to a reader or built into your web browser. It's still in OneDrive. When you edit, you've got some opportunity to maybe use a pen and change some colors, to annotate, to underline things, to circle stuff, to strike through and say, I think you should word it this way, or highlight. And of course, you can wipe off your annotations too if you need to. That's one thing that you'll be able to do. Good to see. The other thing you can do is fill out forms. So if there are fields that are in there where you can put in your response to certain things, or a date, or somewhere where then the combination of the two, being able to sign something and fill out a form, then you'll be able to do that from OneDrive. And so, Daniel, is it clearer now? Like, I think it's kind of handy to keep it in OneDrive rather than having it downloaded and done from my browser.
I agree. I just would like to see it, and see how it works. But yes, I agree with you, because now you have to open up the PDF in your browser, like in Edge. You can annotate. In fact, I just did it this past week. So you can annotate and all of that. So it'd be great to keep it there. So it's keeping syncing and all that, or keeping that version there and all that kind of stuff. So absolutely.
Everything's happening nowish, right? It's rolling out nowish or actually late May, so before-ish was targeted release, and standard release is nowish. So nice to see a whole lot of things arriving that are improving our experience in Microsoft 365 again. But Daniel, there's something we occasionally cover this topic, don't we? About planned maintenance.
Planned maintenance, absolutely. And this one, it's going to be real quick. We're going to talk about it. So listen carefully, everyone. Planned maintenance. Nosie suppression. So suppress your Nosie. And Stream will be down for limited time. MC 567476. Yes, I said Nosie. Sorry, it's misspelled. It's supposed to be noise.
Right.
So they are turning off noise suppression in Microsoft Stream. And so that's that functionality. You can suppress noise for a video that you're watching. Now, they've already done it. So they've turned it off starting June 1st. And the planned part of that is they plan to have it back on by July 31st. So for 2 months, it's going to be down. And this is really because of compliance. So they're wanting to be compliant with the Cyber EO compliance requirement, which enforces a secure development lifecycle for machine learning models. Are we going to unpack all of that? Absolutely, we are not. But just know.
Come on, can we?
No,
I mean, we could get in trouble saying it, but
probably. So just know that this functionality is not there. So you might, want to let your users know, because they may go there and hear a video that has some noise and look for the button, and it's not going to be there. Just won't. So
won't be there.
Let your people know. Speaking of letting your people know, I think you should maybe even create a campaign for Nosie suppression.
No, Nosie suppression. Nosie suppression actually sounds more like a security feature. Okay. Finishing off with our last message. Viva. Microsoft Viva Campaign Hub. Search for campaigns and executive sponsorship for campaigns. MC 567479. That's 3 things, Daniel. Firstly, what is a campaign? Well, we've had hashtags for ages, years in Yammer, now Engage, where we can, as the name suggests, hashtag a term or a squash couple of words together, and that means we can, you know, pull, I guess, posts together that might be related to that particular hashtag, and that is going to take a new form in Engage called campaigns. I liken it to when you can come up with, I don't know, keywords yourself, and then you've got people who will give you keywords, a nice structure, a taxonomy. I know I've already put some people to sleep. I'm talking about metadata.
Data about data.
Data right. About data. Yeah, but so you've got your people created hashtags. I'm going to throw it in there, and I might come up with some smarter, like one that's about 10 words long, just because I'm trying to be funny.
Don't do it.
Yeah, don't do it. But then the official ones are campaigns. These are where you might be working alongside your internal comms team, or someone's got an initiative, or there's a special day that you're wanting to commemorate, and so you could create this hashtag or this campaign and make it official. And by making it official, it gets a page. It means that when people click on it, they can go to it, they can follow that hashtag. They're not just going to search results. But more so than that, and we kind of didn't really dig into it too much from here. If you've had a look at some of the features and what's coming on the roadmap, a campaign means you can set targets. You can say, I want to, measure this and see how well it's being used, and what's the reach and the readership around that. That's a campaign. It'll look a little different. It'll appear as something that you might follow, or it'll show as top campaigns down the side. But before that, how do we find these things?
Good question,
Daniel. Yeah, you just can't find them. So there'll be a campaigns hub. So we're showing this on screen for those who are listening.
There's a top campaigns though, right? There's a top campaigns little section in Viva Engage, but it's
on the panel.
The top ones. Yeah, and
it's on like kind of the right side. You can't just go through and say what campaigns have we got running. But this campaigns hub shows sponsored campaigns. We'll get into that soon. And browse all campaigns. Show me all the campaigns that are running at the moment. It's interesting, isn't it? Like you said to me, Daniel, like we've got communities. Why would we use campaigns? Why would we follow a campaign instead of joining a community? But this kind of crosses those boundaries. If you've got communities, maybe you're even using the campaign hashtag within Storyline. It's just a way of bringing that all together. So that last level of campaigns is that you can have executive sponsorship of a campaign. And what does that mean? Well, in my line of work, where we've got change management, and we're always looking for leadership, visible leadership, to say, hey, I support this campaign, I support this initiative, and I'm happy to put my name beside that and lead from the front and say, yep, I'm going to promote this and show you how it's done. Certainly in change management, that's a big deal. Executive sponsored campaign will show as such, and we kind of don't really know what that looks like from a profile point of view. I would expect to see maybe the campaigns that I sponsor as an executive underneath my profile in maybe the leadership corner. Again, we don't know about this. I'm not going to thumbs down, and I'd like to know. But at least on the campaign hub, Daniel, we do see sponsored campaigns, and we can see that's like there's campaigns which are official, but these are official. These are ones that have got true backing, and maybe we should use them more often. I don't know. What do you think about all this campaign business?
I'd like to have some, really good use cases for it, but I don't have a lot of them right now. I just haven't seen a whole lot of usage. I mean, it's new. It's not like it's out in the wild too much, but I'd like to see some, really good use cases for it. One use case I could think of is, maybe projects, maybe, maybe you're having some sort of internal project. Maybe you're launching a new intranet or a new initiative inside your company. Maybe you're doing a campaign, no pun intended here, but a campaign around raising money for cancer research or for something, something like that, right? And so maybe you would want a campaign and a hashtag where people can tag wherever they are in communities. They can tag it and or on their stories, and it would all kind of roll up on a campaign page. So I think that's kind of the examples I would give for that. And I really like this hub because you can, what are the campaigns that are going on, right? Like I want to see what, maybe I want to follow some of these. So I really like this idea of a hub. And your idea about the, leaders sponsoring, campaigns, putting their name on it, I think is right. It should, kind of show up on their profile.
I found
right?
it. Now that I look at it closer, not so much at the profile level, but when you go to a sponsored campaign, you'll see a panel that says executive sponsors.
Yeah.
So,
well, see, but I think it should go the other way too. And we were talking about this before, right? Is that when I go to that person's storyline, I should, or they're in Leadership Corner, I should see, what are those leaders sponsoring, and go from that way too. Maybe that's what's going to happen as well. So,
yeah. I think it's a very effective way to bring discussions together and answers and questions and all those other things that are related and can be hashtagged.
Aha.
Yes. Well, that is it, Daniel, for this week. A good round of messages. We have dived in deep. We have brought value. Maybe. Maybe. Hashtag value.
That's right. So give us a like and a subscribe.
Yep.
Give that podcast a rating. We'd love that. And also remember to share. And we will engage with you on all the socials because we are there. All the ones that matter anyway. At 365 MCS. We'd love to communicate and have a dialogue going.
Yep. And we thank you also for the continued questions and comments on the channel as well. Great to see some of your thoughts there in the comments on the videos. So until next week, catch you again soon. Bye for now.
Bye.